Okay, so namaskar, salam alaikum, and good evening to you all from J&A Bharat HSE Foundation and J&A Global HSE Foundation. Today is 2nd August 2023, Wednesday, and we welcome you all for the 17th Outreach and Knowledge Transfer Session on very informative and very useful session for everybody, which is a first aid and CPR scenario in India. Again, we are going to talk today about our, in line with our foundation objectives of bringing best practices to India. So related to that particular topic, top 10 best practices, which are being followed in outside world, outside India, related to the first aid and CPR. We are going to listen from our subject matter expert today, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan, for the tour. And before we start, I would like to give a brief call instructions. Kindly mute your microphones and raise the hand whenever you want to speak, and switch off your camera preferably so that we can have a good connection. And we have a chat box open for your posting your queries, comments, and suggestions. And this meeting is being recorded for the future reference because we have a 70+ registrations. I'm sure they'll be joining and they'll be asking for the recording session. And kindly register your name in the chat box with the name, company name, designation, phone, email ID in the chat box. And again, the phone is important because we have a very active WhatsApp group, knowledge sharing WhatsApp group. You can also join in the group for getting all the updates. With that, I would like to welcome you for this particular session. We are going to have a two-part agenda. Part 1 will be for 10 to 12 minutes, talking about our foundation and what are the benefits we have from the foundation. And part 2 will be the technical session. Today, we are going to talk about the outline of the first aid as well as CPR practices in India and highlights of the top 10 best practices to learn from the developed countries. So Dr. Lakshmi Narayan has got a wonderful experience in this particular field. He is going to share, because he keeps traveling in different parts of the world, he is going to share the best practices, how we can make use of such practices in India. With that, I would like to again welcome you all from our foundation trustees, Mr. Jeetu Patel and myself, Ashok Garlapati. I'm sure everybody knows in HSE field, our health, safety, environment field, Mr. Jeetu Patel. He has got a 55+ years of experience and still going on with the learning a lot of best practices and sharing through this our foundation. He just got this appreciation letter from the ASSP for successfully maintaining the 40 years of membership. He was the one who brought ASSP outside US, and the Middle East chapter has been established by him. So with that, I would like to welcome Mr. Jeetu for his welcome address. Mr. Jeetu.
Thank you, Ashok ji. Namaskar to all respected honored guests, starting with our keynote speaker, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan. Our keynote, really magnificent work. He's been doing it and it's ongoing. Corporate dignitaries, academic faculties and educators, and my fellow health, safety, environment professionals. On behalf of both the foundation, J&A Bharat and Global HSE Foundation's governance and its founding trustees, a very warm welcome to you all. Everyone knows my great friend and a co-founding trustee, Ashok Garlapati ji, who just heard him for opening the session, for his remarkable contributions to the HSE profession, who has also developed countless number of HSE professionals globally. I'm proud to share that Ashok ji is currently the Vice President of BCSP, which stands for Board of Certified Safety Professionals, and he will be the president of the BCSP effective from January 1st, 2024. Just 2 days ago, in fact, a little longer than that, at one of the professional development conference in Kuwait, he was honored with the prestigious award of the corporations in oil and gas operations. He is also honored with the fellow honor, which is the highest honor ASSP offers. And with that, I would like to just give the platform back to Ashok ji to go ahead and share brief about both the foundations, please.
Thank you, Mr. Jitu, and thank you for your continued encouragement and motivation all through decades of our experience and togetherness. Just to brief all our members who are joining today, we both together have 9 decades of experience in our HSE profession. And since we met in Chicago back in 2010, we have been supporting all different countries, different professionals from different parts of the world, either through so many organizations. And the little blue flags indicates our contributions in so many ways, we can say. And continuing with that, we wanted to do something more to India. But before that, we just found out what are the issues we are facing in India. This particular slide talking about the global deaths related to the industrial accidents. Every day we see some part of the India is having some industrial accidents. Even yesterday we had I think today morning we had a big accident related to the, falling down of the whole Way Bridge itself, when 20 people got killed. Very unfortunate. And of course, there are so many organizations are supporting the HSE profession, but we wanted to do something more to India, which is related to the foundation. This is the new concept. We do not have a specific foundation or trustees focusing on the HSE profession, and we wanted to fill this particular gap. And with that intention, we started our foundation on 25th March 2022, again on the virtual mode because of the COVID situations. And just to highlight that we are not a membership organization. Nobody need to pay anything at all. It is completely, purely charity-oriented organization. And we'll be engaging with the professional organizations like ASSP or IOSH or the BCSP or the National Safety Council. We'll also be engaging with the corporate organizations like Block Radiant Singapore, who are our partners, and corporate governance advisory board of New Delhi, Mr. Ajay Sachideva is on the line, and HSE CHAMP, which is also corporate organization, and academic institutions where Professor Ramana is contributing a lot. We have a collaboration with the NICMAR and other organizations, and individuals like philanthropists like Dr. Lakshmi Narayan Prudutur, who is really supporting as a chair of the health and well-being. So our intention is to bring the people together. We established a platform and we wanted to contribute on the concept of the foundation, basically. So that's our intention. And we do have a mission, vision, and objectives. Again, everything is very simple. We wanted to advance the profession. We wanted to support and promote occupational safety and health as a career for the students, to inspire and develop leaders, to provide education and developmental opportunities, to recognize the individuals. And we recently recognized Mr. Vijay Kumar Katti, who is also advocate of our association for his community contributions. We are going to have a collaboration with the, with the universities and institutions. And we are also having a MOUs with the similar organizations like the Safety Engineers Association of India and other Center for Health, Safety, Environment, Andhra Pradesh. So that's what we want to do it. We are officially registered in Hyderabad, India. We do have all the requirements by the government for establishing a foundation. And we established we do have a programs like, professional development grant and industrial accident victim grant, as well as the students support grant, which we launched on August 2022 with the support of Dhruti Thakkar from New Jersey. She is sponsoring this particular program on her grandparents' name. So we already provided a support to the 4 students from Hyderabad in 2022. Again, this will be announced today for the 2023 program also. This is, we call it the J&A Bharat Keval Shanti program. And this is another program where Professor Ramana and Dr. Lakshmi Narayan are doing the community outreach programs on behalf of the foundation as a functional committee chairs. And today we are going to listen from Dr. Lakshmi Narayan. Again, this foundation is not only the financial support organization, but we wanted to share the knowledge. That's what we have every month, one OKT outreach and knowledge transfer session. If anybody wants to have a voluntary support, you can go to our website and fill the foundation contribution form or expression of interest form so that we will contact you and you can engage with us. We do have a governance body. We have the functional committee members, and these are our functional committee members and governance body. So things are going on. With that, we just want to highlight that we had a global HSE Foundation established on 30th November 2022 by Mr. Rixio Medina, who is the past president of ASSP. Briefly, I request Mr. Jitu Saab to talk why we established this global foundation. Mr. Jitu.
Thank you, Ashok ji. Basically, you covered it a lot, but especially the global foundation, the purpose of opening was that we faced encountered difficulties in remitting funds from abroad. And we don't want to go into any political side of it, but to avoid that, the notion came in our minds that how about extending the program for global students who have dreams to become specialists in health, safety, environment. And there are a lot of Indian origin living in many different countries. And that's what inspired us to establish the foundation here in the United States base, but for benefit of all global students, helping them to do so. And we have some philanthropists who have already, started to support the Global Foundation also with financially, as well as giving some good ideas on how to promote the inspiration to the young boys and girls whose parents may have little difficulty to support the child's education. And this is where we are actually contacting local universities, community colleges, and then help them to educate with the mission and the vision of both the foundations, and also invite them to attend this outreach knowledge transfer sessions also, so that they can benefit not only just the students, but the faculty and also the organization can get these philanthropic charitable ideas to help those children who really want to achieve their dream. Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you, Jit Sab. As he already indicated that we do have a knowledge transfer sessions, mainly to transfer the knowledge from the experienced people or subject matter experts. So we do every month one session from different subject matter experts, starting from health, safety, environment, and sustainability, ESG. So many things we covered from last 16 session. And today we are going to cover a very important session related to the CPR, first aid and CPR. With that, I request our functional committee chair, Mr. Yashwant, to introduce our speaker of the day today, as well as the topic. Mr. Yashwant.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing great this evening and wherever you are. Today, we have a highly accomplished speaker who will be highlighting us on the first aid and CPR scenario in India and the top 10 best practices to learn from the developed countries. Dr. Lakshminarayan Prodatur is a senior public health professional with more than 4 decades experience, having graduated from the Institute of Medical Sciences in Osmania Medical College, Hyderabad in 1979. He has also been associated with the international donor agencies while working in the Medic district of the combined Andhra Pradesh in 2007 with the Avahan program of Bill Melinda Gates Foundation, and also for Hindustan Latex Family Planning Trust from 2004 to 2013. He's had the good fortune of getting his presentations accepted by the 18th International AIDS Conference in Vienna, Austria, and the 20th International AIDS Conference in Washington, D.C. in 2012. At the national level, he has had 5 paper presentations published and 4 poster presentations to his credit. He's also a certified instructor in basic life support, which includes CPR, defibrillation, and choking from the American Heart Association. He's a co-instructor from the internee doctors in Gandhi Medical College Alumni Association and the GMC International Training Center. He's also trained in First Aid and CPR, which he'll be highlighting us on by St. John's Ambulance Association, Hyderabad. Doctor, the floor is yours. Please proceed to make your presentation.
Thank you,
Yashwant.
Yashwant. Yes, go ahead, doctor. I will share the screen, stop the sharing screen, and you can.
I'll share it or you will share?
You can share it, sir. You can share it, yes. Because you will have a better control, yes.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Can you see?
Yes, it's coming. Perfect.
Okay. So thank you much, Yash, for the detailed introduction. And I'll begin with a short, brief note about sudden cardiac arrest. I think a lot of people know about what sudden cardiac arrest is. I'll just briefly tell you what it is and what exactly happens inside our body when the person suddenly falls unconscious. But before all that, let me begin the narrative of sudden cardiac arrest with the story of Abdul Kalam. As you all know, Mr. Abdul Kalam, while delivering a lecture at IIM Shillong in 2015, it's about 8 years back, he suddenly collapsed in the auditorium and passed away. He died of sudden cardiac arrest. What surprises us today, 8 years later, is why no one in the audience did CPR on him. It's very, very surprising. And the most surprising thing is, today, even 8 years later, in 2023, the awareness on CPR is just about 2%, in India, mind you. So with this, I think I'll just begin a session on what exactly CPR is and what cardiac arrest happens and how we can save the life of the victim within a couple of seconds and minutes, right? Indian Resuscitation Council Federation, which is the premier institute in India, has requested everyone to observe 21st to 28th July as National CPR Week in honor of Abdul Kalam ji, who passed away on 27th of July. So most of us, we are doing that. Now, as we all know, I'll just tell you briefly about what sudden cardiac arrest is. As you can see here, the natural pacemakers in our heart muscle, when they get deranged, when the heart muscle gets damaged, because of the derangement in this electrical mechanism, the heart starts quivering. And that's what exactly happens and is called as ventricular fibrillation or cardiac arrest. The normal heart beats about 70 to 80 beats per minute, whereas the quivering heart in sudden cardiac arrest, it beats almost about 300 to 400 beats per minute. When the heart is beating at such a high rate, it hardly pumps any blood to any organ in the body. And when it stops pumping blood to the brain, what exactly happens, let's see. Now, as you can see, this is the heart and it's pumping blood to the brain through the carotid arteries. Now, when a person collapses with sudden cardiac arrest, what exactly happens is the heart stops pumping blood to the rest of the organs as well as the brain. And if we don't start CPR immediately, within a minute or so, what exactly happens is with every minute that passes without CPR, 10% of the brain gets damaged. So as you can see, within about 10 minutes, the entire brain gets damaged and the person collapses and dies. We have within the first 3 minutes, what is called as golden period or the window of opportunity, within which we can save the life of the victim by promptly starting the CPR. As you can see in this diagrammatic representation, the digital clock on the right side and the percentage of brain damage which is happening on the left side, synchronizing with every minute that is passing by without CPR. So with that, about sudden cardiac arrest, I think I should tell you what heart attack is all about, because there is a lot of myths about heart attack, and everyone needs to understand the difference between heart attack and cardiac arrest. So let's talk about a bit about it. A common apprehension among general public today is that many persons have been dying because of heart attack in their middle life, more so in the recent times because of the COVID pandemic and subsequent vaccination. But statistics from India show the same trend even much before the COVID pandemic started. As you can see in this graph, you have this x-axis as the years from 2017 to 2020. The y-axis is the percentage of deaths which are happening, and the secondary axis, which is shown here, represented by a brown line, is the total number of deaths. The columns here represent the age group from 18 to 30, 30 to 45, and so on. Now, what you can see is the maximum number of deaths, almost about 40%, are happening in this age group of 45 to 60, which is common almost across the years, right from 2017 to 2021. And the next category is about 29 to 30%, which is in the age group of 30 to 45% age group. Now, if you can see, between 30 and 60 years, almost about 70% of the people have been dying because of cardiovascular reasons and heart attacks, right from 2017 onwards. And all this is pre-COVID. And there is hardly any change in the post-COVID area. So this diagram actually busts that myth that most of the people are dying because of the COVID vaccination. But there's a lot of research happening on this front, and we are yet to get the results from them. Maybe in a couple of months from now, we'll get the results exactly whether these deaths can be ascribed to the COVID vaccination or the COVID per se. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions about heart attack as cardiac arrest as well. As you can see in this picture, Anupama actor Nilesh Pandey dies of cardiac arrest at 51. And in the right side picture, you can see Saurav Ganguly, who had also died of, who had a mild heart attack. Now, the press reported is that in case of Saurav Ganguly, for example, it reported it as you can see, suffered a mild cardiac arrest. Now, it's totally erroneous to call it as a mild cardiac arrest because cardiac arrest is never mild. It's always fatal. But the press reported it as mild cardiac arrest because they were not aware of the difference between heart attack and the cardiac arrest. And in case of Nilesh Pandey, when he died of cardiac arrest, the press reported it as colloquially called as a heart attack. Now, it can never be called as a heart attack because heart attack and cardiac arrest are totally different. You give CPR in cardiac arrest, but not in heart attack. So it's absolutely important for all of us to understand the difference between heart attack and cardiac arrest. So let's see that now. Heart attack is basically a plumbing problem, and cardiac arrest is an electrical problem. And in heart attack, we don't give CPR, whereas in cardiac arrest, we give CPR. These are all the differences between heart attack and cardiac arrest. As you can see, in the heart attack, the victim is very much conscious and will respond to all your queries. Whereas in cardiac arrest, he's unconscious and shows no response at all. In heart attack, the person is breathing and is very much alive. Whereas in cardiac arrest, he's not at all breathing or maybe gasping for breath. And he's apparently dead, reversible death, what is called as. And this goes into, once it goes into 10 minutes, it becomes irreversible death when nothing can be done to save the life of this victim. So this difference is obviously very much required for everyone to know, because there are lots of videos floating around in the WhatsApp saying that self-CPR and so on and so forth. All these are wrong myths. And I think all of you, whenever you are checking a WhatsApp video on these aspects, please check its veracity, check its genuinity, whether it's a fake video or a correct video, or maybe for the correct information. Now, it's important for you all to remember that all heart attacks do not lead to cardiac arrest. At the same time, not all cardiac arrests are because of heart attack. What it exactly means is cardiac arrest can happen because of many other reasons as well, apart from heart attack. And heart attack also, not necessarily that it a massive heart attack, he also had saved himself, what happened to him. Now, let me talk about HSE and CPR scenario in India. As you can see, as I mentioned to you about Indian Resuscitation Council Federation, which is a premier institute in India, started somewhere in 2016 or something in Kakinada by Dr. Chakra Rao. He started the Indian protocol along with the Indian Society of Anesthesiologists. And this protocol is called as Compression Only Life Support, COLS. Now, what is the COLS? COLS is very specific to India. Early recognition of cardiac arrest. It's absolutely important that we recognize what cardiac arrest is and whether to give CPR or not. Then early chest compression. Once you recognize that it is cardiac arrest, immediately start the CPR. And early transfer to the medical facility. Now, in these three items that COLS represent, there is one item which is missing from the international guidelines. International guideline across here, between 2 and 3, it has something about AED. I'll talk about it a bit later. So as you can see, this is called the chain of survival. Now, in this chain of survival, what you can see is if we shift our focus to this early transfer, you can see in India, the maximum number of victims from cardiac arrest who are transported to the hospital is by the family and relatives. Almost about 45% of the people are transported to the hospital by the family members. And about 37% are transported by the police. That is, majority of the people who suffer cardiac arrest, almost 45%, that is, it's almost about 90%, are near about 90% are transported by the family and the police. Therefore, it's absolutely important that we focus on these people. The police anyway are being trained, but the family and the relatives generally are neglected part of the society and they do not get much training. Hence, we started off with the goal of reaching out to one family, one member from every family who should be trained in CPR. Other services like other transport, ambulance services have hardly any role. It's only about 10.4% of the victims have been transferred to the hospital by the ambulance, whereas bystander has a very, very minimal role of 7.4%. Bystanders, what we are talking about is today is bystander CPR. These people also need to know a lot about CPR and they should be aware of Good Samaritan's law, which protects them from any legal hassles as well. Now, coming to the causes of cardiac arrest, one of the important causes of cardiac arrest is a genetic cause. 1 in 4 Indians has a genetic cause for cardiac arrest. Now, what exactly genetic cause reveals is called as concealed cardiomyopathy. What is cardiomyopathy is actually the enlargement of the heart muscle, which disturbs its pumping of blood to the rest of the organs. Now, this particular reason or disease is because of a genetic mutation and which is carried by almost over 4% of the Indians. And luckily for us, fortunately, in the last 1 or 2 years back, we got a gene mutation screening test, which is very much available in India. People who we suspect to be having genetic reasons, how you can suspect is actually, suppose a person has a family history of sudden cardiac deaths or sudden deaths, unexplained deaths, you can always suspect genetic causes. Anywhere in people having such a family history, you can always go for cardio screening test or DNA test, which is a genetic screening test, which is available in India. Now, let's see from what's the situation in the developed countries. Now, you see the 3 graphs over here, an interesting profile, demographic profile is given. As you can see in the first graph here, B, sudden cardiac death according to the age group. As you can see, maximum deaths have been in the age group of 31 to 35 across the globe. And this is quoted by NEJM, that is National English Journal of Medicine. So, as you can see, maximum number of deaths have been between 31 to 35 years. Again, if you see causes of sudden cardiac death, maximum number of deaths have been unexplained. There was no reason per se. We couldn't find out why the people died. And next important cause of cardiac arrest was what you call as coronary artery disease or heart attack, what we say. Heart attack definitely leads to cardiac arrest, but not always. Then, this is an interesting aspect which has come out from the research. number of percentage of cases who have died in sleep because of cardiac arrest. Majority of the people die in sleep, whereas some other exercise, some other reasons are like exercise and post-exercise also. A lot of people unused to exercise or maybe vigorous exercise who are doing vigorous exercise. For example, Puneet Rajkumar recently, the Kannada actor, he died post-exercise. So such things can happen if they go beyond the limits or they don't start up with a warm-up and so on. So exercise and post-exercise, exercise is actually beneficial. But in some cases, very specific cases, it may pose hazard to the person. Now, coming to the UK scenario, what exactly prompted the national registry in UK? Now, let me tell you, we don't have any national registry in India. That's the reason why I'm talking about so much about these national registries across the world. Here, as you can see here, OHCA outcomes. Now, let me tell you, OHCA is nothing but outside hospital cardiac arrest. Majority of the cardiac arrest happen outside the hospital. That's why we make it a very, very specific entity called as OHCA, outside hospital cardiac arrest. Now, in UK, of the majority people, of all the people who suffered cardiac arrest, 60% of the people were unattended. Only 40% of the people, some resuscitation was attempted. Now, of the 40% of people where resuscitation was attempted, as you can see, almost 27% survived at till hospital admission. 30 to 27%, let's take the maximum 27%. Whereas by the time they were discharged, only about 12% survived. There was a drastic change. That means from 27% to 12% it has come down. Now, when you compare this, the survival of discharge, which in UK was 12%, compare it to other developed countries like Norway, it was 25%, Seattle, it was 21%, and Netherlands, it was 21%. Now, UK got petrified with this. They got rattled. Why should we lag behind? Why is there so much of disparity in survival at admission and from discharge? It has come down by almost about 15%. Why is it so? So because of that, they have come up with what is called as OHCA or registry. OHCA, as I said, outside hospital cardiac arrest registry. They have come up with this registry for outcomes of this. Now, this is a collaboration between ambulance services, University of Warwick, British Heart Foundation, and Resuscitation Council. Now, University of Warwick was a leading agency that was carrying out a lot of research for cardiac arrest cases in UK. And what they do is they gather the data from the ambulance services and the British Heart Foundation. They analyze the data and summarizes the high quality data to understand and improve the outcomes. Now, the main mantra for them is measure and improve, measure and improve. American, sorry, this is disturbing. Wait a minute. Yeah. So US and European academies and the Global Resuscitation Alliance promote the mantra measure and improve, measure and improve. This reflects their relentless efforts at improving survival rates. Sadly, at least at present, India does not figure anywhere in this. Now, in India, the need of the hour is we need a unified national service registry on par with those at the international level. We should make it a we should develop a comprehensive reporting tool, which is not happening at all. There are so many cases reported across India. People die of sudden cardiac arrest. There's no notice taken of that. There's no reporting, nothing. There's no registry as well. Now, when we are developing a comprehensive reporting tool, it should be on lines with the Houston style template. Now, what is it? Houston is a global template for reporting on cardiac arrest. It's a uniform template so that it can be compared across the globe. Now, what this unified national registry should be doing is it should be mapping ambulance services and first responders across the country. It should be mapping AED installation, which is sadly very poor in India. And it should also make recommendations to the policymakers to improve outcomes. And they should liaise with the government of India as policymakers to take note of these recommendations. Now, we are faced with a lot of challenges when we are having a unified body. What it is untapped rural areas. we have remote areas where the percentage of deaths is quite high. It may be because of cardiac arrest, and it just very difficult to tap the rural areas. And high rate of illiteracy is also another factor. Now, this is a very important factor. Inadequate ambulance services. In India, our ambulance services are very meager and poorly developed emergency medical services as well. And of course, the cultural beliefs and legal hassles. Of course, only very recently, our government of India has come out, has only highlighted, brought the focus onto Good Samaritan law. It is already existing there from like 2017 onwards, but government of India has brought a lot of focus to this now. And they are giving incentives to people who are acting to save the lives of the victims on road traffic accidents or any other eventuality, life-threatening emergencies. Now, with that, I think we'll talk about CPR. We'll talk about AEDs. AED is automated external defibrillator. Now, what do these do? They stop the defibrillation in the heart, ventricular fibrillation. They reset the heart to start the heart all over again. And now, an AED comes in very, very handy when a person suffers cardiac arrest. Only with CPR, you can save almost about the life 40% of the time. But if you club it with AED shock to the heart, you can increase the survival chances to almost about 90%. It's as good as that. But the access of AED machines in India is very, very meager. You can hardly see any AEDs, only in airports and railway stations and some malls and corporate sectors. Other than that, you hardly see any AED. But here, as you can see, public access defibrillators, Denmark is one of the best countries in the world for public access to defibrillators. As you can see, Christian Eriksen, a footballer from Denmark, who was playing in the Euro Cup final in 2020, suddenly fell down, collapsed from cardiac arrest. Now, the best part of it was his coach was observing the match from the pavilion, ran onto the field, gave CPR to him, administered CPR, gave an AED shock because the AED machine was available in the stadium, and he survived. And he took him to the hospital, and later on, ICD was implanted in. What is an ICD? I'll just talk about it a bit later. Now, I always keep thinking, if this happened in India, he would have died, because the awareness in CPR is very, very meager, poor. Now, there are some interesting quotes from UK as well. What they say is AED should never be more than 1 minute away, or maybe within 20 yards, 200 yards, wherever you are. That means you should make AED accessible everywhere. But this is still a pipe dream for India, at least as of now, because we hardly see any AEDs. Now, what exactly means is this chain of survival, what I showed you earlier, starts with early recognition, early chest compressions, and early transfer. The international chain of survival has a fourth component, which is called as early shock to the heart, which is the AED machine. Since we do not have that many AED machines installed in our country, IRCF has come out with calls, which is done away with this early shock to the heart. Because anyway, we won't be having access to the AED machines, and we won't be getting AED shocks machines to give shock everywhere. So that's the reason this calls is very, very specific to Indian scenario. Now, when we talk about AED shocks, as many of you have been doing, we give a standard shock to the heart in cardiac arrest to reset the heart. And this is the standard shock. What is the second shock? We'll just talk about it. Now, as you can see, in the standard shock, the electrodes are placed across the chest, one in the front and one in the underneath the armpit. Now, what happens is, when normally the AED shock is given every 2 minutes. If the person doesn't revive with 3 shocks, then we take up what you call as double shock, which is the second one. One of the systems is VC defibrillation, which is called as vector defibrillation, where at the end of 3 shocks, what they do is remove the pads and replace it somewhere else, one in the front and one in the back, anterior posterior. And this is one type of second shock. Then second one is what you call as DSE. Now here, what happens is 2 AED machines are taken. The pads are kept at the beginning itself. One pad is a standard pad, as you can see. Then The second set of electrodes are put one in the front and one in the back in the very beginning itself when a person suffers cardiac arrest. Two defibrillating machines, AED machines are brought and shocks are parallelly given to the body. What it shows is now, as you can see, this is the picture. Now, this is the blue one is the first set of electrodes for which we give the standard shock. And if there is no response with 3 shocks, then the second AED machine is brought into play. The pads are already kept. The second set of pads are electrodes are these 2 and 2A. Now, with the second set of shock, naturally the outcomes have shown to increase. The global trends have shown that the outcomes are increasing when the double shock is given. That's a very heartening feature. We in India, we don't even have a capability of giving 1 shock, leave alone the second shock. Now, there are many mechanical devices which have come up to improve the outcomes of sudden cardiac arrest. Some of them I'll be highlighting to you here. Now, for example, this mechanical CPR is a device that provides hands-free external chest compressions. Now, the advantage of this is that, as you can see, these are the machines. And in the middle picture, as you can see, the machine, the mechanical CPR is kept on the mannequin. That is the person who's suffering with cardiac arrest. With this, what happens is the mechanical CPR continues to give CPR automatically, and the doctor doesn't have to give his attention to this. He can focus much more on the other life-saving procedures. So that way, the doctor is made free from the mechanical compressions, which are normally taken care of by the doctors and the paramedics in the hospital. But in this case, the automatic device takes over the compressions and the doctor can focus on other life-saving procedures. Now, the advantage of this is the mechanical CPR can continue even when the respondent becomes fatigued. Now, let me tell you, giving CPR is very, very tiresome. Within about 5 or 10 minutes, the person may get tired, and who knows, you may have to give CPR for even half an hour. In that case, what happens is the person who gets fatigued, his responses, his CPR is very, very poor. Because of the fatigue, he's not able to give the depth of compressions, and the rate of compressions also gets affected. In such cases, if we deploy these mechanical CPR devices, it continues pumping it continues giving CPR without getting tired or fatigue because it's a mechanical device. Exactly when CPR stops, because responders switch over their roles. Every cycle of 5 cycles of CPR, that is 2 minutes, responders are expected to switch their roles, if there are more than one, of course. And what this exactly helps is the responder who gets fatigued switches over with another responder who's ready in the waiting. So when the switchover is happening, the CPR has to stop momentarily for about 5 or 10 seconds. When that happens, we are losing the time. Every second counts. So in such scenario also, this mechanical CPR device helps us. Now, during AED shock administration, we lose almost about 4 to 5 seconds. But we don't move the stall. When AED shock is being administered, people are asked to move away. They are not supposed to expected to touch the victim. So we have to stop the CPR for almost about 5 to 7 seconds. During when also we stop the CPR. Now, these two scenarios, shock during the AED shock and carrying the victim down the stairs, as well as transporting the victim in the ambulance, all these scenarios are where these mechanical devices help. You need not have to stop CPR, even while transporting the victim from the 3rd or upper floors to the ground floor, or maybe even when you're transporting the victim in the ambulance. So all these scenarios, CPR device comes in handy. Now, these CPR devices provide continuous, uninterrupted, exact chest compressions, which is actually the purpose of our CPR. Now, compressions are also adjusted between 0 to 3 inches, 3.2 inches. Normally, we advise about 2.5 inches to an adult victim for CPR, the compression depth. But this can be adjusted from 0 inches to 3.2 inches. So it accommodates a wide range of patients, even hyperobese patients also it allows. Now, when AED shock is given, then also the CPR machine can continue to give the compressions. unlike in manual compressions, where the manual compressions have to stop when the AED shock is being given. Now, there are some other devices which have come up. For example, resuscitator. Now, this is a new battery-operated wearable device. It provides real-time feedback on CPR quality, as well as verbal and visual instruction on how to perform CPR correctly. Now, this is another innovation that has come up in the recent times. It's called as a life jacket. Life jacket. As you can see, this is a life jacket. There's a vest over this, an electrode belt is there, and a monitor. Now, once you put up this and you fix up the monitor like this, this gives a real-time feedback on CPR quality. And it also gives verbal and visual instructions on how to give CPR. And the best part of it is the electrode belt, which detects any arrhythmia or very chaotic heart rhythm and sets it right immediately. So that's the best part of this life jacket. He doesn't have to require, he doesn't need to be given CPR, because this electrode belt, which detects the arrhythmia or the change in rhythm of the heart or the chaotic heartbeat before time and immediately sets it right. So that's a great innovation which would come in very handy. It's also called as wearable cardioverter defibrillator. Now, this is an AED trainer which has come up with Zoll company. Now, we use a lot of AED trainers when we do training. This is mainly primarily used for training. When you talk about AED in a training session, we use the AED machine, the AED trainer, which doesn't give the shock but simulates it. And exactly the attendant, the trainees, the participants know how a Zoll AED operates, or any AED machine for that matter operates. Now, this is another interesting concept, CPR mannequins. As you can see, the mannequins generally are, these are called as feedback mannequins. What exactly it means is, now this particular mannequin, for example, it includes sensors that measure the depth and the rate of compressions, as well as amount of air being delivered. Now, we are not talking about air being delivered because we are not talking about rescue breaths, but it definitely gives feedback on the rate of compressions and the depth of compressions. And the best part is the LED lights underneath the skin of the mannequin glow up when your compressions are proper. See, as you can see in this particular diagram, in this particular animation, when you're doing compressions mechanically, you are pushing the blood mechanically to the brain. Now, this particular action comes into play only when you're doing CPR properly. So when you're pushing the blood mechanically to the brain, these lights glow up. The lights on the mannequin glow up. So that's the best part of this particular mannequin. It not only allows you to train on a mannequin, but it also gives you a feedback that you're doing the CPR very correctly. Unless you do CPR correctly, the depth and the rate, you cannot push blood mechanically to the brain. That's the important part of it. And that is called a CPR mannequin of the big red company from American Red Cross. These people are producing these mannequins. Now, the best part about this particular mannequin is it shows you if the rate is less than 100, this red light glows, as you can see here. If it's correct between 100 and 120 beats per minute, 2 green lights glow on the mannequin. Whereas if it crosses 120, a yellow light glows. Now, this is how the mannequin gives you a feedback whether your compressions are correct or not. With that, we can correct ourselves because during many of our training sessions, we use such mannequins. This, of course, these are available in India as well. When the yellow light glows, what it means is the compression rate is very fast, more than 120. When the CPR rate is more than, chest compression rate is more than 120, you are likely to cause more and more damage to the chest muscle, at the sternum, as well as the rib cage. And apart from that, your recoil becomes ineffective. Recoil is actually the rebound or the relaxation of the heart when you're decompressing. When you don't decompress the heart properly, what happens is it doesn't receive the blood from the rest of the body. And when you're pushing it more than 120 beats per minute, what it happens is you're pushing it on an empty stomach, empty heart. So it's not effective, the CPR. That's the reason this gives a yellow light glow, which tells you that your CPR is effective. ineffective. You have to be between 100 to 120 beats per minute. And if your depth is less than, if your rate is less than 100, or if your depth is less than 2.4 inches, then also the red light starts glowing. It tells you that the CPR is ineffective. So this set of CPR mannequins are available in India as well. And this is a big innovation which has come up in the last couple of years. Now, there are many, many apps which we have been developed in the recent times. Of course, none of them are happening in India. Cell phone and smartphone apps which broadcast emergency alerts to citizens. Wherever the citizens are, alerts are going. Whenever a person suffers with cardiac arrest, an alert goes from there to people having these apps. Now, what are these apps? These are smartphone apps which integrate alert notifications and enable geolocation features. They can immediately identify the location where the particular event has happened. And smartphone guide users through the steps of hands-only CPR and give feedback as well. Now, CPR feedback devices also provide real-time feedback on compression depth and rate. Now, what they do is they give a feedback on decompression and compression rates. They give a feedback whether the compressions are very shallow or whether it's inappropriate or whether the rate is very fast. Such sort of feedback is given by this device which is called as CPR meter 2, which is again an innovation. Now, technology has come to a great help to improve the outcomes in sudden cardiac arrest across the globe, but we are lagging behind very drastically, very poorly. Now, American Heart Association's adults cardiopulmonary resuscitation courses have been updated in 2019 with instrument-directed feedback devices. Now, what it means is the trainings which American Heart Association does these days are supported with new age instrument-directed feedback devices. These devices give a feedback on the quality of training, the quality of compression that the participant, the trainer gives, and the quality of depth of compression and the rate of compressions. Now, these are the feedback mechanisms that are given by these devices, and American Heart Association has made full use of such devices to improve the quality of training. Now, there are many such wearable devices, smartphone apps, surveillance cameras, and AI technologies which prevent and recognize out-of-hospital and in-hospital cardiac arrest. Now, mobile phone systems notifying the first responders of nearby OSCs, outside hospital cardiac arrest, have been shown to improve the outcomes with bystander interventions. Whenever something happens, it is the bystander's responsibility to take up the initiative to give CPR. Now, most of the bystanders are not really trained. They may not be trained at all, and they may be having many fears. As we said earlier, one of the challenges is fears, as a fear of legal hassles. Especially in India, we have a lot of legal hassles. The police also can come and harass you. Even they are not aware of this Good Samaritan law. But a bystander who's aware of all this, if he does CPR in a good intention, with a good intention, there's no reason why he should not be doing. In fact, CPR, whichever way it is done, it can revive the victim, not necessarily the correct, proper way which we train. Now, there are many apps which have come up to aid the training as well as improve the outcome of the cardiac arrest. One such app is QCPR app. The next one is Revive's RCPR, CPR First Aid app, and Pocket CPR. Now, let's just see some of these things. For example, Quality CPR or QCPR. Now, here, mannequins have modules installed in them that give a visual readout to each student. It gives verbal instructions to the participant. These are used during the training. Actually, it gives feedback to the trainer. There are different devices I use. Some of them earlier I told you. And this is also another device which is installed and which gives a visual feedback to each student. Now, there is another thing called as, Revive or Learn CPR in 15 minutes. Now, this app comes in very, very handy. Again, we don't have this app in India, but this app helps you to learn CPR, self-study. In 15 minutes, you learn CPR. They'll give all sorts of instructions and they help you to learn CPR on a firm, thick cushion. This is what they do. Now, another device is what we call as this one, Pocket CPR. This is an app which is developed, which is only available on Apple phones. Apple is an Apple device, actually. This teaches the basics of hands-only CPR. Now, technology has come to our aid in delivering AED machines. Now, again, this is a very far advanced technology, which is very much developed in developed countries. AED is transported to the site of accident with the help of a drone. And when it does it so, as you can see, it reduces the 90th percentile of AED arrival time by 6 minutes. Every minute counts when a person goes into cardiac arrest, and 6 minutes is an ample time, adequate time to act. And this is in an urban area, whereas in rural areas, it takes almost, it was reduced by about 10 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, as we can see, public access defibrillation is particularly valuable in witnessed cardiac arrest. What it means is, whenever cardiac arrest, there are some responders who have witnessed it. In all such cases, public access defibrillators are very much handy, and they definitely improve the outcome. So this is bystander and police. Most of the cardiac arrests, especially in India, because you see police at every corner of the road, unlike in Western countries. So the police use of AEDs is very much advanced in advanced countries, developed countries, whereas unlike in India we do not have much. In fact, in all the recent incidents of cardiac arrest that are taking place, they have, if at all they have survived it because of manual CPR and not because of AED shocks. Okay, now, yeah, as you can see in this particular diagram, CPR, AED, for example, AED mapping is done with the help of technology. And what it shows is the geographical layout of the region-specific and integrated drone networks across the local area, in a local community. What you see is the radius of the circle represents the maximum distance available for to reach the site of accident. Now, and this is the network of drone network, which is highly evolved, and they are made use of for public access defibrillators for first responders and dispatchers in 911 developed countries. Now, this is another technology innovation. What you can see is it was a Swedish experiment. What they did was use a caller from the site. He sent a message to the dispatcher, EMS dispatcher. Now, when the earlier times, when the ambulance was transported with the help of the dispatcher, it took almost about 20 minutes to reach the site of emergency. But when the same thing was allowed through an AED carrying ambulance or AED carrying AED machine, drone carrying AED machine, the time reduced to 5 minutes. And as I said, every minute counts. It's a definitely marvelous improvement. And these have improved the outcomes of sudden cardiac arrest. This was an experiment by Sweden. Now, augmented reality has come up with a lot of applications. They are such devices, they give you a lot of feedback on the gauge, the depth, and the rate. And another advantage of this is that a video can be taken by the devices which are present there. Video can be shown to the dispatcher 911, who will guide you on how to go do the CPR, whether you're doing it correctly or not. This is enabled through augmented reality. Now, with the help of augmented reality, American Heart Association has come out with an app called My Cardiac Coach. Now, in fact, I tried to download this app, but it's available only for Apple phones. I don't have an Apple phone, I have an Android phone. So I really don't know. People may try it on Apple with this My Cardiac Coach. It's a very recent innovation brought about by American Heart Association with the help of augmented reality. It creates a lifelike environment for users to learn hands-on CPR. This is used for training. Okay. Now, there are two other apps we have developed in King County in the US. Now, one is called the Pulse Point Respond, and the other is called the Pulse Point AED. What these do is, as you can see, Pulse Point Respond is a 911 connected app that can immediately inform you of the emergencies occurring in your community and can request your help when CPR is needed nearby. Similarly, Pulse Point AED is a simple to use tool that enables you to help build the public AED registry in your community. That means it shows the resources of where AEDs are located. So this device also comes in very handy. I want to move this. Yeah. Now, there are other devices like animated assisted CPR instruction. Now, what happens is a team of researchers are developing a CPR instruction program using motion graphic, motion capture animation, which will be integrated into the mobile phone. This is another innovation that is going to happen in a couple of months from now. What exactly is the advantage of this is this compares effectiveness of animated assisted CPR instruction versus dispatcher assisted CPR. We have just seen in the earlier slide, dispatcher assisted CPR. Now, this is animation assisted CPR, which gives via animation. It helps the responders to act properly and promptly. Now, one important initiative that has come out on the recent times is a telephone CPR, which is a very highly complex, developed complex system in the Western countries. Though we do talk about telephone CPR in our country, it's very informal and unorganized. What exactly happens in telecommunicator CPR in the Western countries is giving CPR assistance to callers over the phone. This is what is known as telecommunicator CPR. TCPR is a frontline means of advising a 911 caller to help a cardiac arrest victim. When someone calls 911, the telecommunicator will ask a series of questions to figure out what exactly is happening. He'll ask the address. He'll ask, for example, is the patient conscious? Is he breathing normally? Then if no, if he says no for everything, then he says go with CPR. Then, of course, the dispatcher will give instructions on how to go about with CPR without any delay. So this is the advantage of telecommunicator CPR. Now, this is what is called as dispatcher assisted CPR. I spoke to you about a bit earlier as well. Here, the bystander giving CPR, this comes in handy only when there are more than one responder. If there is only one responder, it doesn't help. When there are more than one responder, the second responder, he makes a call to 911. And then through a video call, he makes a video call. And the 911 operator, dispatcher, looks at the video which is shared and gives proper visual instructions and corrects any wrong actions here, either the depth or the rate. All these are captured in this particular dispatcher assisted CPR technology. So this also comes in very, very handy for a bystander. All these devices will come in handy to help the bystander to improve the outcome of the cardiac arrest. Now, a lot of research is happening across the world to talk about cardiac arrest survivors. Some people, maybe 27% in Norway or UK or wherever it is, survive at discharge. Now, what happens to such survivors? Now, generally they survive, but they have a lot of neurological outcomes, which is called as acquired brain injury. Now, acquired brain injury can cause all sorts of problems, changes in thinking skills, being aware of difficulties, disorientation will be their personality changes, drowsiness, balance impairment, physical weakness, difficulty in swallowing, so on and so forth. All these are signs of acquired brain injury. What exactly this means is the minute you start CPR, the quicker you start, the better. The more you delay, more and more brain gets damaged. As you have seen the diagrammatic representation, more and more brain gets damaged. And maybe you can revive the victim even if you start the CPR at 5 minutes. But by that time, almost about 50% of the brain is damaged. And when the 50% of the brain is damaged, you see many of these features when the person survives from cardiac arrest. In order to prevent that, they have some new treatment technologies also have come up. Treatment modalities have come up. Let's see about that. But before that, a lot of research is happening to talk about cardiac arrest survivors. A lot of rehabilitative measures are taken up to improve the mental stress that is naturally following the event. A lot of people undergo a lot of stress, and this has to be addressed when a person with cardiac arrest survives. In India, even if a person survives cardiac arrest, there's no record of whatever happened subsequently. In fact, if you can remember, in the very recent incident which happened at Hyderabad Gymkhana grounds, one lady collapsed in the stampede when there was a rush for tickets. And this lady who collapsed was saved by a police constable. Now, this police constable saved his victim from cardiac arrest. She revived. But what exactly happened to her, till this day, we don't know. We don't know whether she has acquired any brain injury or not also, because by the police constable was readily available there. She started the CPR and of course she could manage it. But we just don't know what exactly happened to her. This importance is given by the Western countries. A lot of focus is there on cardiac arrest survivors. A lot of research is happening there also on that front. Now, International Liaison for the International Committee on Resuscitation, they give guidelines to post-cardiac arrest survivors. What it says is the patient's blood pressure, oxygenation, blood temperature, cognitive, physical, and psychosocial needs need to be monitored continuously over a period of almost 6 months to 1 year or even much later. As we can see, as we have seen in the earlier slide on the percentage of deaths and the percentage of demographic, this thing, what you have seen is the people dying of cardiac arrest, surviving from cardiac arrest, whatever the percentage is, they suffer with cognitive, physical, and psychosocial needs post-survival. These have to be addressed, and ILCOR has come up with those guidelines. So this was about all these things. Now, some other practices have come up recently, more particularly related to the treatment modalities. Now, as we all know, earlier the protocol of giving CPR before 2020 was ABC, checking the airway, checking the breathing, and then starting the compressions. Now, in this process, what happened was it involved almost a delay of 7 to 8 or maybe 10 seconds. Now, in cardiac arrest, every second counts. That's the tagline. So if we are resorting to airway checking and breathing checking, then we are taking almost about 7 to 8 seconds in starting the CPR. This delay has to be avoided at any cost. That's the reason why in 2020, American Heart Association has come out with a new protocol, which is CAB. Start with the compressions and then go for airway checking and breathing. Now, when you start with the compression, there is absolutely no delay. If you start the CPR very promptly, there is absolutely no delay in starting the compressions. Now, as you can see here, when we used to do CPR with ABC, it took almost 30 seconds longer to begin chest compression. I was telling you 10 seconds, but sometimes it took as long as 30 seconds. You have to do a head tilt and chin lift to check for the breathing. And in this process, you are losing almost 10 to 30 seconds. Every second is very, very crucial in saving the life of the victim. That's the reason the protocol has been changed to check compressions and CAB. So this is a very, very important change that has been brought about in 2020 by the American Heart Association. Now, other treatment modalities have also come up recently. Implantation of cardioverter defibrillator, ICD. As I was telling you about the case of Christian Eriksen, the Danish footballer, who collapsed on the field with cardiac arrest, who survived with the CPR and AED shock. He was taken to the hospital, and this particular device was implanted in him. ICD is called as cardioverter defibrillator. This machine, what it does is it's implanted in the top of the chest, just made a slight incision on the chest, and this is implanted under skin. Now, this machine takes care of any erratic rhythm in your heart. Whenever your heart is likely to go into cardiac arrest, this defibrillator device exactly resets the heart. So there's no need for CPR there. So this device has brought in very handy thing, and this was responsible and is responsible for Christian Eriksen playing football, active football, even today, 3 years after that. Whenever he is likely to get a cardiac arrest, this machine, which is installed, which is implanted under his skin, will take care of the cardiac arrest that is going to happen. So this is a very latest innovation which has come up. Then, of course, there are surgery like coronary angioplasty, coronary bypass surgery, radio frequency catheter ablation, type 2 heart surgery. Another important development which has taken place in the recent times is hypothermia treatment. The patient's temperature is brought down from 98.4 to about 91 degrees. The patient's body temperature is brought about drastically low to about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. So that, and the patient is kept at this temperature for 24 hours. Once you cool down the body temperature, the neurological outcomes improve. The brain damage diminishes when the brain activity also diminishes when the body temperature is brought below the normal levels. So this is the mode of treatment which has been tried out in the persons who survive cardiac arrest. Now, please remember, once a person survives cardiac arrest, that doesn't mean he's exactly safe. His brain may undergo deterioration even in the next couple of days. In order to prevent that, hypothermia treatment is being used very effectively. And not only that, patients who are in coma or maybe who have a witnessed cardiac arrest, such people are exactly candidates for eligible for this protocol of hypothermia. Okay. Now, with this, I come to the end of the presentation. And I hope I've covered majority of the developments, innovations that have taken place in the recent times.
Yes,
thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan. It was a wonderful session, knowing about the new developments in the field. Let me share my screen.
Can I request Mr. Pal to conduct the question answer session? Just to introduce Mr. Dinesh, he's a very learned man. He works for a construction company in Kuwait for almost 25 years. He's an active member of ASSP Kuwait chapter since 2006, but he's even hyperactive in the Toastmasters Club. He has served this club in the rank of club vice president, president, area director, and very proud to say that he has achieved the best area director out of 36 area directors from 4 countries at the award winning in 2021 and 2022. Dinesh, please conduct this question and answer session for us, please.
Dinesh ji looks like he has got some technical issue. So
okay.
let me check over that and start the Q&A. So yes, anybody has got any questions, they are welcome to open their microphone and ask the questions.
Shobji, I posted a question in the chat box.
Okay, let me just check it. Yes.
Okay. I mean, we discussed about a lot of items which are present or not present in India.
Yes.
So if we take one as an example, which was for the learning and to take it to large level, we found like Dr. Lakshmi Narayan talked about multiple apps, but say, for example, if we have to make Revive are accessible in India, what would it take? Is it a financial? Is it policy? I mean, what would it take? You know, it is not in India, so how can we bring it to India?
Dr.
Yes,
Lakshmi
yes,
Narayan?
sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Now, many of these apps have been developed with the aid of technology. That comes into play when the government and the policy makers and the safety councils give importance to the life of the victim. Whereas in India, a person suffers cardiac arrest, he is forgotten. If he dies, of course, he's gone. If he survives also, there's no record of whether he survived or not. And since this is the state of affairs, we haven't much focused on this accessibility or of AD machines as well as these apps. And the technology has not yet penetrated in India. These apps, what example? See, for example, I myself tried to download some of these apps, but they are not accessible because they are geolocation. Their geolocation is very important for them. Whereas we are in India, and that those apps are developed somewhere in the US and other developed countries. So they are not accessible in India.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan. There is another question in the chat box. Does CPR affect a person with a pacemaker?
What exactly does this mean? CPR affect a person with pacemaker. What does it mean? Can you be please more specific, Mr.
If anybody has got a pacemaker, whether we can do the CPR
Yes. If you have a pacemaker implanted, you can continue to give CPR, absolutely no problem. But there is a restriction when you're trying to give AD shock. You do not put the electrode pads on the place where the pacemaker is implanted. You just put it by the side of the pacemaker. That's the only thing. Otherwise, CPR can be straight away normally given to the person with cardiac arrest.
Got it. There is another question that Mr. Pandian is asking. Hypothermia, what are the other symptoms experienced by the patient? Maybe he's asking.
Hypothermia is a treatment modality. Hypothermia is a treatment modality when the body temperature of the victim is brought down from the normal almost by about 5 or 6 degrees.
Okay.
When the body temperature is brought down, when the body is cooled, the brain damage is very much diminished or reduced. And when the person is kept like this for about 24 to 48 hours, the brain damage is very much minimized. Because the brain damage even follows even if the person survives from cardiac arrest. That's the reason why this modality has been developed, and this is a treatment protocol. One of the treatment protocols. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor. There's another question from Professor Ramana. What is the available statistics of saving life from cardiac arrest across pan-India in the last 5 years or so?
Mr. Ramana Garu, since you're talking about pan-India, there are very, very, very few statistics available from India.
That is
no
unfortunate.
In fact, in the 7th or 8th slide, I showed you a slide of heart attacks in India. Person dying of heart attack. If you can take that, because heart attack, normally the person who dies from heart attack is because of cardiac arrest. So if you can take that statistic, that will very well apply to your question. What is the available statistic of saving life from cardiac arrest? Pan-India in the past 5 years, that is from 17 onwards. Can we just go back to the slide if you want? It's almost about 70% between the age group of 30 to 60 years.
So we will share the session recordings also with Professor Ramana.
Okay.
Because we have one thing.
Thank you.
One thing which I learned today from your session, Dr. LP, about the mechanical devices of the CPR. This is I was thinking always that we have to give manually by the people, but you already enlightened us with us on the mechanical CPR. So can you, how much that will cost, whether anybody can do that or only the, healthcare professionals only can do that?
No. There are two aspects to your question. Now, one is the cost, and second thing is everyone can do it. It shouldn't be a problem at all. Since this is not available in India, we don't know, but it can be done when anyone. It's just automatically switching on the button, switching on one button, which is the battery-operated device. So it's as simple as operating an AD machine. It isn't a problem. Regarding the cost, I'm really not aware. We'll have to explore. Yeah. Because they are not yet available in India. Of course, I understand that some of these such devices are being developed in Bangalore, but it will take a lot of time.
Okay. With that, I would like to hand over to our Jitu Saab for your thanking you, Jitu
Thank
Saab.
you.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Ashok ji. All I need to do at this stage is thank Dr. Lakshmi Narayan ji for an outstanding presentation. And also thank you for stepping in for Dinesh ji and covering while he's experiencing these high-tech difficulties. So with that, Ashok ji, we have several announcements to make. So let us proceed with that, please.
Thank you. As I was telling that we are completely with the contribution, so we'd like to recognize the contributors of the J&A Bharat HSE Foundation. As you see the little screens, little stars with SCD, they are the systematic contributing donors. So they do every year something like that. And this month, we have added another organization, Corporate Governance Advisory Services from New Delhi, which we are going to brief shortly. These are the people who have contributed for our global foundation. We would like to thank them. And these are our knowledge transfers. As we have been telling that foundation means it's not only the money, more than that, it's the knowledge, like Dr. Lakshmi Narayan shared just now. So these are our different subject matter experts who have shared in our earlier sessions. And these are our ambassadors. We call them as a knowledge transfer ambassadors through our WhatsApp group. I already shared the WhatsApp group. Again, I'm going to share in the chat box also. If you are not yet a member, you can just become the member of that. Plenty of discussions, knowledge transfer is going on every day. And these are the people who have been supporting us as a functional committee chairs and governance body members. And you are welcome to join with us as a voluntary support. And some of the one of the pillar we have shown is the corporate engagement. We had a corporate engagement with the Invo Systems of Singapore. They are sharing the Black Radiance Planet app. So I'm going to share that also in the WhatsApp group. So you can get the free 1 month trial of this particular Planet Sustain app, which is good for your tracking your carbon emissions. Another one is the announcement of MOU between the Bharat HSE Foundation as well as the Center for HSE of Andhra Pradesh. We are just sharing a lot of knowledge between both of us. And another corporate engagement is with the HSE Champ, which you are going to see shortly on the quiz program. They are the sponsors of our gifts also for this every OKT session. And there is a ESG conference I had first time, which is happening in India. Mr. Ajay Sachdeva, who recently joined as a systematic contributing donor for the Bharat HSE Foundation, is on the call. Mr. Would you like to briefly talk about this particular conference, Mr. Ajay ji?
Thank you, Ashok. I think just a very quick overview. The conference is planned for 4th and 5th of October 2023 at Hotel Radisson, Dwarka, New Delhi. The second thing is this conference would, the context is that there are many people who are talking about ESG or sustainability, but except for some very large organizations, still a large segment of the corporate is still struggling on how to operationalize it. So we have speakers from people who have implemented it across the organizations, and more than 80% of the speakers would be from the industry segment, including that from telecom, entertainment, chemical, and manufacturing. And just one point in relation to the work being done by the J&A HSE Foundation. I think one of the topics which we are covering is basically the enablement. That is one other area which has not got its perhaps due attention. Although again, there have been regulations which came in, like Dr. Lakshmi Narayan talked about the Samaritan regulation and so on. But somehow the enforcement or the enablement in many cases has been low. So we have some speakers who will be speaking on that, because like there was a large entertainment chain in India, PVR Inox, who have enabled about 108 of their theaters to ensure that they are not only enabled in terms of accessibility, but also made special provisions for safety in case of emergency for those people. So those are the kind of topics that will be covered. Just giving one example, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajayji. And as I was telling in the beginning that we have the Keval Shanti Student Scholarship Program 2022 already. We honored 4 students, and this is the second of its program we are launching today, 2023 of J&A Keval Shanti Student Scholarship. Madam Dhruti Thakkar from New Jersey is sponsoring this particular program on her grandparents' name, Keval and Shanti. And Professor Ramana is really helping us in moving forward this program. And the last date for the submission is 15th September 2023, mainly by the students who are pursuing the HSE programs. Professor Ramana, would you like to briefly talk about this?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, perfect, sir. Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Good evening in India, late evening to all the participants. This J&A Bharat Keval Shanti Scholarship Program started, and I am the chair for students mentoring and scholarship. So we had already launched one in 2022. We had called for pan India, but there was no much reception. But because of myself stationed at Hyderabad, we have 2 very good institutes who are conducting program. One is the NICMAR, National Institute of Construction Management, who are having a university status, and they run a postgraduate program in HSE, Health, Safety and Environment. And we also had people from this local state board of technical education. 3 institutes also contested for this scholarship, and we could select 2 students, girl students, luckily, because the preference is given to the girl students, and if we don't find a girl student, we give it to the boy students who are ranking first in the batch. So we got 2 girl students coming from NICMAR, and we had 1 boy student from Connect IT and 1 from IASM. IASM is another good long-standing institute conducting programs. Now they are collaborating with SBT, affiliated with State Board of Technical Education for the 1-year industrial safety program. Now, my request was to propagate this our scholarship pan-India, so that people from other places should also apply. The form is already been has been posted in our WhatsApp. Right. I think that is the most broader coverage. WhatsApp is the most broader coverage. So everybody is given an opportunity. So all the requirements are the requirement for eligibility has been very clearly given in the. Actually, before this was finalized, we had, as a committee, with me as the chair, we had a lot of iteration, corrections, and then now it is finalized. Last year we have floated. This will be the 2nd year. And I request from your end also, all who are also participants here, I request please propagate this so that we have a very good number of applications, so that we can sort out and give the eligible candidates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ramanaji, for your support in taking forward this particular program. As we were telling that there will be an online quiz using the HSE SAM platform, we would like to hand over this to Mr. Pravish. Before Mr. Pravish takes over, our advocate, Mr. Vijay Kumar Katti, has come up with a very unique concept called Celebrating International Friendship Day of J&A platform. Mr. Vijay Kumar Katti, while Pravish is getting ready, would you like to brief on this?
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Yeah.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. The main objective behind it is we're all friends. We should know each other and we should recognize everybody's contribution to the society. That was a concept in my mind. So whatever the knowledge that I have on a digitization or artwork, everything, I thought, why not create a friendship book? All the people who are contributing, let us recognize them by giving them their portrait of their own photographs, which has given a good response to me. Almost around 120 people have given me the photographs, and some people need to send again and again. And finally, I got a best photographs today also. While going through this session also, 3 people sent me the photograph. This is what I would like to do it. And secondly, this is the mode how I make funds for my own social activity, which I do in Mumbai and around places. This year, I would like to do an activity of plantation in 25 Adivasi schools. For that, I need some funds, which I would like to generate through making such kind of a portrait of your choice in your organization. I already given the costing to it. And if anybody can extend their support, which will help me to do my activities, which is self-supported, because I don't go for any kind of a donation or any kind of a work since beginning. If any information is required, you can contact me. And this will be published on 6th August on International Friendship Day as a mark of SDG goal number 17. Where are the partners to each other, so that exchange of ideas, exchange of thoughts will be done. If anybody wants to know more about it, how do we make it popularized, and how you can support me in my social activities in return of something that you like it, or you would like to give a gift to somebody, you would like to honor your own organizational people, or any other way this can be any help to you, please contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay Kumar Katti, for your support and contribution. Without losing much time, I would request Mr. Pravish to take over for conducting the quiz. The quiz will be based on the session which Dr. Lakshmi Narayan has shared us now. Mr. Pravish.
Good evening, everyone. Hope I am audible.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is our HSE Champ Quiz. Thank you very much, J&A Global Foundation for the tie-up corporate partnership.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are just moving to the slide. So this is our 16th OKT sections we have conducted. These are our winners of the last section. Mr. Yash, Pankaj, and Ajay were the winners. And as we agreed, we are already sent the prizes for the winners to their address. So we have shared all this. Congratulations to all the winners. So I hope today we will be having new faces, or maybe the old faces. Let's see. I will just quickly run how this, maybe there will be some new users. I will just quickly run how they have to use the application, how the quiz is going to be, what are the rules and details. So this is not the QR code. Once I will go to the particular, start the particular quiz program, you will be having a QR code. You can just scan the QR code. You will take directly to the quiz page, or in any of the browsers, Safari, Google Chrome, any browser, just type demo.hsechamp.com. You can just directly go to the quiz page and you can directly start the quiz. Once you go to that particular page, you will be having this particular page. Your slide will come on the mobile, and you can just the game pin will be automatically coming to that page. You can give your proper name, because this name is going to be coming on to the certificate which you'll be getting at the end of the quiz program. So once you enter, your screen will be like this. You're writing that waiting for the host to start. That means I have to start once everybody is on board, I will start the quiz. So till that, your mobile will be showing like this. So once the quiz will be coming, you don't want to look into the screen, you don't want to look to the Zoom screen. The questions will come to your mobile directly, and there will be 4 colors. You can choose the right colors over there. And if it is true and false, it will be written true or false. You will get only 20 seconds to answer this question. and it is 1,000 points. So as fast as you answer the questions, you will be having highest mark. And if you write, 3 questions continuously, also you will get a bonus point. So after every questions, that screen will come over there that who perform the highest point on the particular questions and who is the total winners will you can see on your mobile phones. So at the end of the thing, you will be having this. I will be sharing this particular screen. It will be coming from my side only. I will be showing that. So you will be having the winners of each questions and the total winners will be over there. So at the end of the quiz, we will be having a winner. And the final score will be showing on your screen and you can download your certificate. If the winners are there, it will be having a background certificate you will be receiving. And maybe if there is any issues on the certificate, we will be providing the link to download it later. And this will be the certificates receiving for the participants for the quiz program. And these are the winners, as we are mainly oriented into safety, we will be having a first position. We are having prices for 1,000 rupees of emergency kit. Plus, if the people are walking, it is basically reflective tape. They can put it on our hands because normally the accidents are happening more morning walk or evening walk because of the cloth. There is no reflector. So we are having that as the part. And another is basically the car braking inside the car window breaker. It is there for the first emergency kit. Then we have a home safety product like a fire extinguishers available for a second prize, and the third position will be a book written by one of our J&A Foundation, Jitu Sap, what we have. So that is the book that we are giving as a prize on the third one. So I hope everybody is ready. So let's play.
Yes.
So keep your mobile phones ready, or even can any of the Google Chrome, you can just.
Can you please share the pin code?
It's coming.
Yeah, it is coming. It is coming. So you can just directly scan this QR code or the pin code.
Automatically comes. Yeah. 624813.
Yeah. 624813. Yeah. 624813. If anybody having a problem to log in, you can directly go to any of the browser and just try play hsechamp.com.
What is the code, sir?
624813. Yeah. I put in the chat box.
624813.
Yeah. I put in the chat box also. You can type it there.
I'm not able to join it.
You will come. You just enter the pin.
Where should we enter this?
HSE Champ.
You can just
It is coming back, Pravish.
Yeah.
If I enter that pin code,
Okay.
it came back to me. Others, I don't know. 6248.
Yeah, it's coming back to the home page and not showing game pin at the time. When asking for the name and pin
Okay,
again.
just a minute. I will just start once again.
Same home page is coming.
Maybe the pin code is not correct, Pravish. Check.
No, sir, it's correct. I will share it again.
Yeah. Okay.
I just restarted the quiz again because I just opened it previously. Let's see if it is coming.
Yes. No, it came back again. Get back to the home position. You need to refresh the pin code probably.
Okay.
It is coming back to the home page, Pravish.
Yeah, just a minute. Sorry for the.
No problem. We're going to show Pravish again.
Yeah, actually there is a timing issue. I just put the timing. The timing ended.
Okay, no problem.
So that is why it is gone back.
Would you like to share the screen now?
Yeah, just to share.
Okay. Scan to join. Coming back to Pravish again.
I don't know why it is happening. There is a server issue.
You want to
It was
reset?
tested. Yeah, sir. You can just proceed, sir. I will just take some time. I will just call back.
Okay. So in fact, this is our end of the quiz, Pravesh. So take your time. We will have a little interaction with the participants. Okay. So
okay.
Yes. Gentlemen, we have some issues, and we had earlier our speaker, our one of the role player, Mr. Dinesh, was having connection issues, but he is back now. So let's see who are new faces today. Mr. Deepak Bhaskaran. Let me go as per our alphabetical order. Mr. Deepak Bhaskaran, would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Myself, Deepak Bhaskaran. I'm working as a head of QHSC in Gulf Catering and Support Services. I have overall 22 years of experience, out of which 15 years have been in UAE.
Very good.
Currently, I am on annual vacation. I am joining this session from Kerala, India.
Good.
And yeah, it is the first time that I have attended such a session. So great to be with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you for
I
joining.
know Mr. Ashok Gallapati because I have attended one session from you
Oh, really?
related to BCSP. And I had completed my BCSP exam, CSP exam
Very
on,
nice.
and I passed it on 20th of December last year.
Very nice.
So I'm part of the WhatsApp group as well. I'm not very active member, but yeah, I do keep an eye out for it.
Good, good. Thank
And
you.
looking forward to participating in more such
Excellent.
sessions.
Very
So
nice to
thank
know.
you
Deepati.
for organizing. Yeah, thank you for organizing such wonderful sessions, and it's a pleasure to be part of this. Thank you once again to all the organizers.
Perfect, perfect. It's very nice to know that we are connected virtually. Please do share our foundation's information with your employees who are fraternity under your umbrella. Thank you.
Definitely, definitely. It will be my pleasure.
Good, good. We have one with us, a new name I'm seeing, Mr. Muhammad Rajab Said. Mr. Muhammad, if you are able to listen to me, so please unmute and speak, or we'll go with another gentleman, Mr. Krishnam Raju. Mr. Raju, would you like to briefly introduce about yourself? Looks like he's muted. And we have with us our Mr. Hardik Kumar Patel. Mr. Hardik Kumar, I hope you are listening to us. Please go ahead.
Listen.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Hardik Kumar Patel. I am working with Almen Kuwait as a safety engineer from last 6 months.
Very good.
Basically, I am chemical engineer and I have completed ADS from CLI Mumbai. And right now I applied for CSP.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Good, good, good.